Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to lesson 4 of our full stack MERN course. Today we're going to be adding sub-documents into our user model, setting up password hashes so that we aren't saving plain text passwords in our database, and we'll be creating the user profile on the front end to display each user's post. This video is going to be faster than the first few, so feel free to pause if you fall a little bit behind, but we have a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. So one quick thing I want to do is to separate our user route into its own thing. So we're just going to add another field in front of this, do /user, and then a comma, and then this will basically close this route into the /user route within our API. So after we've done that, we're going to want to go into our user schema here, and we're going to actually want to create a new schema in here. And we're going to call it const post schema, and it's going to be equal to a new mongoose.schema. And we're going to open this up, and inside of here, we're going to give each post a title. It's going to be type of string, required of true, and then we're going to do another property of author ID, and we're going to for now set that equal to type of string, required true. And then we're going to set two more properties actually. We're going to have a date, and this is going to be a type of date, and it's going to default to date.now, which is a function for setting the current date. And then we have the body as the last property. It's going to be a type of string and required of true. And then after we've done that, what we're going to do is inside of our user schema, we're going to do a comma after password, and we're going to create an array called posts. And this is going to be equal to an array of post schemas. And then we're going to do the same thing with likes. We're going to do post schema. And then we're going to do following, and this is just going to be an array of strings that's going to have keys to different users, basically the ID property from the MongoDB database. Alright, so the next thing we're going to be doing is going to require Bcrypt. So inside of our terminal here, we're going to cd into the server folder, and we're going to npm I bcrypt. And then when this is done installing, we're going to, at the top of here, we're going to do const bcrypt equals require bcrypt, and we're going to be using this to basically do our post functions. So we're going to make these smaller real quick, and we're going to do module.export in post signup equals request response. And we're actually going to make this asynchronous, and then we're going to arrow function into that. We're going to do the same thing for login. And then inside of each one of these, we're going to check if there's a request body, and if not, we're going to res JSON, and we're actually going to create an error message. So we're going to call this const we'll call it no user equals no user query submitted is what we'll title this, and we'll also set the status to 400, which is a bad request. We'll do res JSON no user, and we'll do the same thing. Oh, we didn't close this one. Let's go ahead. Wait, what is this one? Oh, we have too many of those. Alright, we got it now though. Better late than never. Alright, so now we got this. Now we're going to do the same thing here. Down here actually. And then what we're going to do in each one, for this one actually, we're going to do const username password equals request body, and then const new user equals new user, and this is using our user model. Set that equal to the username and password. We're going to do bcrypt gen salt 10. Oh, that's supposed to have a 0. Error salt. And then we're going to open up another arrow function in here. Yeah, we're going to semicolon that off, and we're going to do bcrypt hash request body password salt error hash, another arrow function here. And what we're basically doing here is we're hashing a password to store it in a database in a way that if a hacker got into our database, let's say they got our API keys, they wouldn't actually have the user's password, they would just have the the Bcrypt hashes essentially. So let's get, after that we do if error, throw error, and then new user dot password equals hash new user dot save, which is going to save them in the database after we've got the model, and then user res JSON user, another object, ID user dot ID username user dot username. So what this is basically doing is if the password is successfully saved as a hash, it's just going to return the ID and the username. It's not going to return the actual password, just for extra security purposes. And then in our login function, we're going to do const u equals request body username. And since we don't want to search it with the plain text password that the user is going to send, so we're just saving the username for right now. And then we're going to do user find one username is equal to you, and the callback is going to have an error user arrow function here. And then what we're going to do is error res JSON error, and we'll also we'll set the status to 400 and JSON error, and then we're going to do, open this up, we're going to set down here bcrypt compare request body password to user.password, and the password from this .user or this user.password object, this is going to be the hash, this is going to be the plain text, and it's going to compare them. And then we're going to do a .then promise, and then we're going to do result, our anonymous function here, and if result res status 200 JSON user, that's going to return the user object. Otherwise, res status 404 not found, JSON wrong password. Alright, so now let's give this a test with Postman real quick. If you don't have that installed, a link will be in the description. But we're basically going to go ahead and node index this. And we can see API listening, MongoDB connected. And one more thing I just actually remembered is to get rid of this error, we do in here, inside of our dependencies here, we're going to do use create index. It's going to be equal to true, and then we're just going to restart our console here, and the error should go away. Okay, so now we see API listening, MongoDB connected, and now what we're going to do is, actually we forgot to add these functions into the user routes, so we're actually going to comment these out real quick while we make sure that the next ones work. We're going to do router.get, we're going to do /signup, or no, router.post, my bad. That was the whole thing. Alright, router.post, sign up, user controller, post, sign up, and the same thing for login, router.post, login, user controller, post, login. Alright, so after we've opened up Postman, we want to create a new post request. We're going to do HTTP local host 5000. That's what our server is running on. Oh, we're also going to want to restart this. I forget if I did that already, but so we're going to do /signup, and we're going to click on body here, and we're going to do raw. We're going to type in here, we're going to open up an object first, and we're going to do username. We're going to call it admin, why not? Password, root, and this is actually going to be an application.json. We need to actually add quotes to these ones as well. Oops. Username is admin and password is root. So we're going to try to save this user and see what happens real quick. Any day now. Oh, I have another quote I'm missing. Alright, there we go. We also don't want to make this capital. So admin and root. Let's see if we get the user back. Let's see, cannot post sign up. Okay, so I forgot earlier that we did /user/signup. So you're just going to want to add this /user in between the two, and then we'll send that, and it's going to say no user query submitted. So let's find out why we're having this other error. So I forgot to mention one other thing. We want to do api.use express.json just to make our requests more smoothly. So now we can go back to node index, restart our server, go back to the user signup route, and submit this. And we can see that it goes through and it returns us the ID and the username. And if we look down at our console here, we can see the following array, the posts array, and the likes array, but we're only seeing the password and all this specific data on our backend terminal. Alright, so now let's just test logging in. So let's do user/login, and we'll use the same user data that we just created and make sure that this works. And we can see we get the user after we log in. And you can see also that the password is stored as a hash rather than a plain text value, which we need to use the .compare method, which we did over here, to make sure that it's verified. Alright, so now what we want to do is go back into our user routes. We're going to delete the gets, and we're also going to delete them from the controller here. We don't need those anymore. And we're going to create two new routes. We're going to create one for getting the posts from a user and one for creating the posts. So first, in our user routes, what we'll do is we'll do router.get, and we'll do /posts. We'll do a colon for param user ID, and then we'll do user controller dot get posts by ID, and then we will also router dot post user ID /new post user controller dot user post is what those functions are going to be called here. We're going to save that. We're also going to just close our server for this moment here, and then we're going to go into our controller file, and we're going to add these methods. So module.exports user post is async request response, and then down here module.exports.get posts by ID, it's going to be equal to request response. This one's just going to be a get, so we don't need the async. So if request params user ID, we're going to do user find by ID, user ID, user1, and if error res status 400, JSON error, otherwise res status 200, JSON user1.posts. This is where we're going to fetch basically the posts from a particular user. And we're going to do res status 400 JSON user error. And this is, well, this isn't going to be technically the correct, well, actually, no, it would be because they wouldn't have a user query technically, so we got them. Alright, so in this other function now, if request body, else res status 400 JSON user error, and then inside of here, we're going to do let new post equals title, request body title, author ID is equal to request params user ID, and then we're going to do body, request body, and it was also called body on ours, so .body, and then we're going to do user find by ID, request params user ID, and we're going to have error user. We're going to open this up. If there's an error, res status 400 JSON user error, and then if not, users or user, so the user that we're getting by the ID in the parameter, which we set over here, so this user ID will be a parameter just like it is in this one, and we're going to be using that to find this user by ID, and then we're going to .post push, and that's the array we have right here. We're going to be pushing to that, and we're going to do new post. And then what we're going to do is user.save to update them in the database, and then res status 200.json and return the user. And then we will close this off, and then we will test this in just a sec here. So let's start up our server again, node index, and we will be taking this ID from here that we made in the last thing. We're going to plug that into Postman, so user, our route is right here, so slash user ID new post, which is right here. Let me make sure, user post, yep. So we have user, oh wait, hang on, I just, short-term memory rip. Okay, so user ID after here, and then new post, and then we're going to insert into the body what we have defined in this post schema here. So we're going to have a title, let's call it post1, and we just have to set the body and title basically, because the other stuff is defaulted or gotten from the parameters of the request. So in the body we'll say this is post1, and we will see if that works. And we can see that our posts array now has the post that we just created, and it's defined by our schema, and it has its own ID, which we can use for relational data modeling. So now that we have routes to log in, sign up, and do all these things and do it properly with the Bcrypt and post requests, we're going to exit out of all this, and we're going to actually go into our client, and we're going to render this on our client side. So the first thing that we need to do is create some new components. So the first one that we're going to create is layout.js. Second one we're going to create is home.js. Second one we're going to create is navbar.js. The fourth one we're going to create is going to be post.js. And then another one we're going to create is going to be profile.js. And then inside of our app.js, what we actually need to do as well, so we're going to open a new terminal, and we're going to cd into our client folder, and we're going to npm I react router DOM, because we'll need this to set up our layout and our navbar and everything. So while that's installing, we can start to create our components. So I'm just going to paste in this home, very simple, it just says home, so you can copy that if you want. And then we're also going to be creating our layout here, which is going to just look like a standard React layout here, except we're going to use our navbar here, and so we're going to need to create that as well. And we're going to be using React Router DOM for that, so let's just go ahead and paste this in. So we can see we get the link module from React Router DOM. We create a few links, home, login, sign up, all the jazz. If you're not fully up to speed on the React stuff, you can check out my React course where we cover this kind of stuff. And then what else we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a profile. So for a profile, what we're going to be doing is popping this in here, and it's going to take in a user object that we're going to fetch from login, and it's going to map their posts to their own objects called posts, which we're also going to be creating right here. So inside of here, we're going to be pasting this in, and well, you can write it up, but I'm going to be pasting it, and I'm going to be cheating, where this is going to take in a post object from the profile that is being mapped from the user posts array that we created in our database. It's going to give them an ID and a post, and that's going to have a title and a body as we defined in our database, and then it's going to render them dynamically onto their profile. So React Router DOM should be wrapping up any day now, but for now we can just create our React Router stuff as I had said to myself there. So what we're going to do is import layout from components layout, and we're going to import home from components home, or it's capital home, and then we're going to import browser router as router and route, those two modules, from React router. Doesn't come up yet because we're still installing it. Alright, so then inside of our app, we're going to do a router, and we're going to delete these two components real quick here. We're going to do router layout right there. We're going to route path equals slash exact component equals home, and then we're going to do another route path equals login. Do a slash before that, and then we're going to do a component equals login, route path equals sign up. Another, I forgot the slash again. Component equals sign up. Then we will have that done for when this thing this is still installing. Alright, I'll get back to you guys in a sec when this is done. Okay, so once that's done installing, we are going to npm start this, and we should be able to log in and see our post on the admin root user. So let's see this. It's going to open in our browser, and we will see our CSS-less setup, but nonetheless it will be functional. Hopefully, it should be. I have no doubts. All right, so we're going to log in here. We're going to type in admin and root, and we can see. Oh wait, hold on. Did I not create a profile object? Let me see. So we have our profile. It is. Oh yeah, we didn't change our routes in login. So we need to change this to /user/login. And we're actually, oh yeah, totally forgot about Axios. So we're gonna be npm installing Axios as well in this to make our post requests onto our database that we just created. So inside of our login, we're going to import Axios from Axios. And then we're going to comment this out for the time being. We're going to do const handle login equals e equals here e prevent default, and then we're going to do const username equals e target username dot value, const password equals e target username dot value. I probably could have copied a lot of this, but oh well. Target username dot value equals that. Oh my god. E target use password there, and then inside of here we're going to do axios dot post http localhost 5000 /user/login, and then our body is going to be username password, and then after that we're going to chain a promise the response. We're going to set user equal to response dot data, and we are going to set our state here. So const user set user equals react use state, and we're going to set it to null at first, and then basically setting. Wait, what is this? Set user. Okay, so what this is basically going to do is our response.data is going to be our user object, and using our user object as our state is going to basically allow us to pass in our user as an object in our profile. And so what we need to do here is let return data, and then if user is null, we're going to return the thing we have right now, return data equals, and then we're going to paste this in here. We're going to return data at the bottom of that, and then otherwise we're going to return data equals profile, and then the user is going to be equal to our user state. And that's basically how we're going to be passing this in and then mapping through the posts. So let's go ahead and save this, and let's go back into our browser. Wait, did I import profile? Oh, I gotta import profile. So we gotta import profile from profile. Let's make sure that in profile we have post imported. Cool. So now let's npm start that, and let's take two real quick on that one. So we've got our front end here. We're going to make our request, and it should come up with our profile and the post that we just created in Postman, rendered dynamically. Handle login. Oh, I spelled login wrong. Fantastic. All right. So there we go. Admin root. We click login, and it's still not working, huh? Let's see what the error is here. 404 not found, request failed. Let's check this out. So we have login, localhost, user login, username, password. Okay, so I was typing too fast for my small brain to handle. I typed username value again here, so that's why we couldn't find the user on that one. So let's go back into here. We'll do admin.root, or admin and root rather, and then we can see admin's post 1. This is post 1. So we got the data from our database where we had the user model. We got the sub document of the posts, and we rendered that onto our front end template. So this is all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.